Hello, everyone. My name is Vaiva Laucyte. First of all, a big thanks for the Bizagi team who invited me to give a presentation. So, a brief introduction regarding our, as a Luminor Bank, journey with Bizagi. We are the first largest local bank in Baltic states. Baltic states are Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. I am from Lithuania, and if you would come and visit Vilnius, you would see our nice Luminor building. Sometimes I'm working from 15th floor, so if you would come to visit, you can ask my name and say that I know that she works on 15th floor. And we are now in Bizagi version 11.2.5, and we are lucky because we are already on cloud. We need to move to version 12. It's still something to be done, but with the help of Dirk, I hope that we will succeed. And we basically implement customer-oriented processes at the moment. So, for example, we started with early warning signals. To give you an example, if you lose a job and you have a loan, it might be that the bank would be already informed, and loan advisor will be informed by these early warning signals that maybe you are not available to pay anymore your loan. Daily banking processes are the small processes regarding your bank account to block, unblock, to close, onboard, some small daily processes that bank is performing regarding customers, and others are regarding lending, corporate lending and private lending. And today I would like to focus on private lending, more specifically on consumer lending, not mortgage lending, but consumer, where you could request a loan for solar panel, just for your personal consumption, cars, or home renovation. So I will start with a business case that came from our lending advisors. I just gave some examples regarding what we asked and why we decided that Bizagi is the best tool to be used for automate the consumer lending process. So here, basically, of course, we need to integrate a lot of external and internal bank systems. Lending advisors wants to do less job as possible, so we need to think how to automate their tasks. Also, we don't want to bother customers, so we need to ask as less information for the customer as possible and consult maybe some of the data in external systems. So, for example, we need just a personal ID of a person, then we connect to external system and we get our data, or internal one as well. Another thing that is very important in the bank, we need to track data for audit purposes and also to consult and have some reports. All the data that are used in decision-making process need to be the updated ones. So we need always to check in external systems if it is true that the customer that would like to borrow the money is still working in X company. And business logic implementation, which is a lot of requirements, what needs to be done, and we need to decide if it is really in Bizagi as a low-code platform, or we should create some microservice and integrate with Bizagi. Then let's go to the objectives that we as a bank want to reach with consumer lending automation. So Luminor chose to be an innovative bank, so we want to use updated technology, low-code platforms, OpenAI, ADA, of course. And with all automation, we are, of course, seeking, and I guess cost savings. That we could dedicate more time to other tasks, not necessary to reduce manual work, but just to have more interesting tasks and what can be automated. Lending advisors should not waste time on that. These kind of decisions that we need to take, if we give you a loan or not, needs to be taken as quick as possible. So, of course, automation helps to improve user experience. For example, in some startup finance, providing financial services, you can ask a consumer loan and just give that quick loan in 30 minutes. How we do that? Maybe we are not checking your data. I don't think so. But they automate all the flow that you could get the answer as quick as possible. And we as a bank, as a competitor, we need to also achieve these kind of things to be competitive in the market. And as user experience also, we go with NPS, which is Net Promoter Score. When you get your loan, of course, you are happy. So it improves our promotion that we are a good bank. And one final objective that I wanted to mention is to unify all lending process in 3 countries. It is a challenge because in each country we have different external systems used. And also, of course, lending advisors are used to work in a bit different way. So I will start from your perspective. Definitely you have your banks, but this is our web page where you could go and apply for a loan. When you press that button for apply, you introduce some data, not too much, just your name, surname, some personal information, and then you click the button to apply. When you apply, quickly I summarized in some phases what actually from bank perspective we need to do to decide if we give you a loan or not. When we start with your loan application, we need to process data. What does it mean? We need to collect as much data as possible to evaluate and decide if we want to give you a loan. Then we need to check your credit affordability. How much actually we can borrow based on your conditions. How much, I don't know how much money you gain. Do you have other loans? So everything is checked by lending advisors. Then approval process, where we have decision makers and sometimes even credit risk officers to evaluate your loan application. Once we got the approval, we need to prepare the offer. Also, we can think about automation, like the offer can be prepared by some template directly sent to customer where customer could sign it. And when we get the contract signed, that also could be automated, we start to proceed with disbursement of the money. Shortly, these are phases without complex diagrams, but we want, let's say this is the happy flow, how it would work in Bizagi. And now I would like to talk regarding the challenges. Why challenges? Or let's think what is a challenge by word means. A challenge is something that you need to put a great mental effort to solve or implement some solution, right? And Bizagi is a low-code platform. And sometimes we need to be more creative, not only to understand requirements, but also how to make it work in Bizagi. Also from business analyst side, then we need to prepare requirements thinking about the BPM platform. They have various challenges. I am from developers team, so I always, as business analyst, prepare the requirements as much as understandable as possible. And preparing this presentation, I approached them and asked them, like, could you please share your challenges when you are preparing those requirements? Because, we know what we need, but sometimes maybe it's difficult to understand for you, like what we actually need in your requirements. And we shared some opinions, like my biggest challenge is to prepare process flow according to BPM standard. And in many cases, we actually don't have from business side any diagram, and we need to prepare solution based on written requirements and then just check with them. It is a standard that might be used in business analysis, but still, let's say for them, it's a big challenge to put everything in nice squares and diamonds. Another problem that we face is that sometimes it's difficult to have those skills and roles for to understand those skills and roles for business users, because we are using roles, we are using skills, we are using stakeholders, and for them it's still until now sometimes we need to approach us and ask, is it a role, is it a stakeholder, and so on. And one good point that in my opinion, in his opinion, system is understandable, and that does make requirements preparation for business analysts easier, because they already have their templates. If it is a manual task, they prepare for manual task, like indicating the steps and what we want to see in UI. If it is integration with external system, they have a different template where we need to comment inputs and outputs for Bizagi. Then I would like to move to the challenges that we face in our development team. And probably everyone who develops in Bizagi would agree with me that integrating with external systems is a challenge in low-code platform. And what we do, since in consumer lending we have a lot of integrations, we already use kind of custom connector template that we have prepared, thanks to Martin, who is our ex-employee, and this afternoon will give also a presentation regarding custom connectors. And in using these connectors, we can connect to external systems. So we already have something outside Bizagi, but in our team that we are working on. I will not go to the details, but developers, please feel free to approach me later and we can discuss how we do that and maybe your way, how do you do that. But basically we use Node.js libraries, and also we have implemented automated testing with Cypress. Then other challenge that we have that comes with all the European banking regulation requirements, and especially this year we focused on application development process, where we had requirements to perform code reviews and have versions and all the release process, let's say, control. That if internal or external auditor would come, we should show that. Low-code platform doesn't have these things. So this is kind of limitation. And for us, it was a quite big challenge to think how to integrate, for example, with GitLab and make it work. So there is a joke that, well, I made a good code, but please don't touch it. And when we deploy, for example, to test or even prod, sometimes it doesn't work, right? So what we do to prevent that and avoid those kind of bugs, apart of testing, of course, before going to prod, we perform code reviews using GitLab. So we export the package and compare to what is already in upper environment. So nothing different from GitLab, where you merge a request approve a request and then merge it to perform later deployment to upper environment. And another challenge that we have is organizational structure. When we started to work with Bizagi, we used in consumer lending process roles. We haven't used stakeholders. And from business, it started to increase. Let's say we started to want more and more functionalities. For example, managers wanted to manage the skills of their employees. So for that, we need to work with stakeholders, not really the roles, because roles management can be done only by admins in Bizagi application. So we need already to think how to move those roles for stakeholders functionality. And as Kevin already presented and answered my question, that one point more why we need to do that as soon as possible is to be able to use AI. However, we have challenges, but also we have benefits. So just wanted to confirm that what was solved by Bizagi, it is true. And maybe someone who only worked with Bizagi BPM platform could not see that, but before I used other BPM softwares, so I definitely can confirm that Bizagi is much easier to use and maintain. Then application development is much faster because we don't need to think about UI. It is already there, even it is kind of only one, let's say, in version 11, but it works and it covers front-end needs. Cost efficiency is regarding probably from development sides, you don't need like Java developers to implement some things, and even citizen developers could work with the tool, right? And it has productivity. It is easier to maintain because it is a structured platform. So Bizagi developers already know where to find the information. And according to the standard that is used in Bizagi, that is BPMN notation, we can ensure best practices. And of course, with all of that, we improve agility. And now I would like to present a bit of diagrams, maybe more interested for developers, and some good implementation that we did. And this is the start of our consumer lending process, where every element has its purpose, because we pay for every element for Bizagi. So we want to use as less as possible. The first one is the start event, and you never can start manually the process. It is always initiated using OData API. We use it we use Bizagi API from integrating channels like web service where you apply for the loan, and then you initiate the loan application in Bizagi. Then the next step is signal events. Signal events are used to initiate supporting processes. I will come later to them just to give you the idea what is our supporting processes, what are our supporting processes. And the third point, we have event in parallel, where we mark all exception flows. It could be cancellation of application, it could be rejection of application, and it can be done manually or automatically. Then we have the fifth, that would be our, again, signal events, where we initiate supporting processes that do not depend on parent process, and they can be finished at any time they can be finished. And on the sixth point, we have all the sub-processes that basically we use in our parent process. We don't have tasks used in parent process. Why? Because in the future, we will have other countries that use the same sub-processes, but maybe it could be slightly different parent process. Some of them should be skipped, so we would create parent processes, different ones, but some of sub-processes might be reused. And the seventh one I wanted to highlight, this is where we put the implementation for automate rejection. So out of, on the exit of sub-process, we might automatically already reject the application without any end-user knowledge for that. And the eighth one that we use are the terminate events, of course, to end the parent process. Regarding sub-processes and supporting processes, this is our kind of, I would say, internal methodology that we use. And I would like to note that we don't use embedded and reusable sub-processes, and it works for us quite well to use those supporting processes. So we call supporting processes the processes that do not have impact on final objective of parent process. What does it mean? If you want to create some record to external service for the consumer, it's not important. Customer, it's not important when you will create it, right? You can leave that process, like if external service, for example, have some problems, you can leave it to be created later when the service will be up, but it will not influence on the parent process flow. And sub-processes are all used in parent process, and of course we have dependency on it and final objective to disperse the money to the customer if everything is approved. And another good implementation that we have with end user, let's say, participation in it, is when we have an error in external system, where, for example, we want to create a record, in this case in CRM. It might be that there is some duplicate, and if it is, we receive the response kind of business error that later is assigned to the lending advisor to perform it manually. But also he can choose not to perform it because it was correctly already created before, and then he can just close that supporting process. This was like short things and maybe some ideas for developers to develop. You can please approach me and we can discuss into more details. And now I would like to talk regarding our achievements in consumer lending. And I have a question to you. So what do you think? How many loan applications, sorry for orthographical mistake, are rejected automatically? That means that lending advisor even didn't notice that they received that loan application with our solution of automated flow. So, for example, a day we receive 1,000 applications. How many of them are directly rejected? A percentage. Dirk, please don't tell. Is it 10%? Maybe 80%? Anyone? Just some number. How many? 70, okay. Anyone else? Okay, 20%, good. Okay, okay, 20%. Okay. So at the moment, we have reached, but I hope that this number should increase because we are still improving our automated, semi-automated process. And now we reached that 40% of applications are automatically rejected. What does it mean? If we receive 1,000 applications per day, already lending advisors do not need to invest time on those that before they were investing just to reject them. So they can concentrate only on the ones that we could probably lend the money to our customers. And I asked to several ones, but just wanted to put like more useful, like from end user perspective, some opinion regarding does it help for her to work with lending process or not. And she said that Bizagi has reduced manual work. Definitely it reduced because we don't need to work anymore with some of applications that are already rejected. And of course, sometimes we need to create some records in our system. So for example, here we don't need to create any more SOP in CRM. And it summarizes the customer's the customer's current account statement and provides an overview of income and liabilities. So we don't need to consult anymore external systems to get some data. And it also immediately tells if a customer has any payment defaults. We can already see if they have debts, overdues, or some other risks. And I personally very happy with that achievement. It's better. It's always nice to have some kind of, these are my customers, our internal employees who work with the Bizagi platform. And a part of that, we still need a lot of work to be done. Our goal at the beginning, so we would like really to reach to have automated process. That means that you apply for the loan and you get it maybe in a few hours without any interaction of lending advisor, if everything goes well. But this is a huge challenge for us, not as Bizagi, but also external systems that also need to work on it to have their part automated and well working. And other achievements that we have, I cannot share the numbers, but definitely we have reduced workload of loan advisors. So this is kind of proof what we shared. And of course, time saving. We also reduce the time to provide to our clients the answer. Do we accept and give you the loan or not? And our next challenge now would be also to integrate other countries, because we started from one country and now we need to work with other countries to have the same flow using Bizagi. I guess that was everything that I wanted to say. And if you have any question, I will be really happy to answer them.
Thank you very much, Vaiva. Before I open for questions, I have a question. From the 40% rejected loan applications, the remaining 60%, how many of them are then also rejected because of the work the advisor?
So we checked, it's like 20% more, so we could automate those applications.
Okay, good. But does it mean that you, from the 1,000 applications you receive per day, that you are closing 400 of them? No. I mean, the customer will also probably then turn down the proposal also.
Yeah, it might be. This is the cancellation, of course. It might be that customer with certain time that do not respond to our offer when we cancel the application because it seems that maybe he's not interested. Yeah, it might be. But this is the cancellation. I provided the number more on rejection. Might be also a cancellation.
Mm-hmm. And with the increased interest rates now, did you observe a downturn in the number of applications now that the
kind of confidential information that I cannot share?
I mean, we shared so much confidential information about Bizagi already. That's I was trying to ask, but I don't want to put you in.
And I cannot say if interest rates Euribor will be.
Gustavo, you have a question.
Yeah, I have a question. First, thank you very much for the presentation. Are the consumer loans only open to internal customers, or do you open
also external ones? And we have onboarding as well as a sub-process.
Okay, so
external ones.
Somebody that is not a customer can apply for a loan and get onboarded.
Yes, as well. Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Any other questions? No banking experts in. Only customers of banking.
This is not a question. This is a comment. I mean, for many people in the audience, the kind of process architecture that Luminor has created is best practice. I mean, the way they use advanced capabilities in the product, like signaling to do inter-process synchronization, the top processes, the sub-process. I highly encourage you to talk to Vaiva and to Martins at any point, because it's really impressive the way they have built their overall process architecture for flexibility and agility. Cool.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you very much again, Vaiva.